Hi, my name is Gretchen Kirchmann, and I get the pleasure of talking to you about innovation and sponsorship. And one of the first things I want to say is thank you so much to the IAFE and the judging team for allowing me this opportunity to share some of the things that we did here with the Exarban Stock Show up in Nebraska. This year we got to celebrate the 93rd anniversary. The Exarban Stock Show has a long history. The Exarban Stock Show has the Pig Challenge now, and so what was really exciting is that it gives exhibitors from 14 states the opportunity to put in an application and learn how to bring a pig, a 50-pound pig, to a market hog weight by getting it in April and having the Exarban Stock Show the end of September. One of the things that I wanted to do in the sponsorship role is I really wanted to align us with a partner that would also benefit from exposure throughout the whole entire year. I looked at my sponsorship roster and really started looking and trying to figure out, in this program, we needed mentors. So who has field offices that could also benefit from having employee engagement? And I wanted it to be a win-win situation. I don't want to ever create any more work for anyone that's sponsoring with us. We want to take on the workload. But what I want to do is I want to provide opportunities for some of their employees to benefit and really understand the core and the depth of this program. As I was putting together a sponsorship pitch, I was looking at an existing sponsor, which happens to be Farm Credit Services of America for us. They've been a longtime supporter of the Exarban Stock Show. But what I noticed is they needed more than just a banner in the arena and some logo impressions. They needed the reason why they were engaged and what kind of value that brought. Also, there was a secondary part, is I wanted to layer it so that we were expanding and reaching more within our sponsorship, other than just having some logo impressions in Grand Island and on the website. How can we engage those field offices to know about it, to talk about it? I want them going to business functions. Maybe they are a member in South Dakota of the local Rotary or the Chamber of Commerce, or they're serving on the grain board. I want them to be talking when their colleagues say, hey, what are you doing, Gretchen? I want to be able to say, well, you know, I'm mentoring a youth that's competing in the Pig Challenge, and I've learned a lot about Exarban. As this was getting put together for the Farm Credit Services, I was working with one of their senior business vice presidents, and they're in the business development field. So how can I create value in this but not create any more work for anyone? So I introduced the concept, worked with their marketing team, and said, could you pitch it out to the field office reps? Here's a paragraph, talks about what it's like to be a mentor, how to be involved, and see if anyone's interested. At this time, we were looking for about 20 representatives out of the field. There had already been some individuals that were going to mentor the Pig Challenge from the beginning. It was nice. The email went out. We took a few weeks to cultivate the responses, back and forth dialogue, a little bit more information on the depths of what this was. Exhibitors were writing 3 letters. Mentors could engage with them with the letter communication. They could visit them in their markets. They could potentially go to their county fair. It was time to really start looking at the activation with the sponsorship. And so what we did is we made sure that there was photographs taken with each of the distribution points. So there was the exhibitor paired with their pig at that time, about 50 pounds. They took pictures. They took pictures definitely from the moment that they received possession. They took pictures when they got to their barns, when they put them into their new pens, just a variety of pictures, and it really showed the youth engagement and how invested they were in this project. Well, I was then able to take those photographs and share with the vice president I was working with so that they could see, and they could also reach out and tell their field offices. One of the things that we looked at doing was pairing up the cities and the states and trying to get mentors that could be in close proximity if possible. Once that was completed, it was time to then again work on the publicity of where we were going with this. So I drafted a press release. I felt it was really important to engage the marketing communications office at Farm Credit Services of America. So we did a joint press release. We made sure we both had quotes in there, standard operating procedures, best practice. And then we worked on the distribution point. What I liked that worked really well in this position was the fact that then I tailored and personalized all those media releases. So being a journalist, having that in my background, I knew to write headlines and cut lines that would work well to get picked up. So for example, we had a couple youth from Lennox, South Dakota. I knew what they had done at some other fairs and how well they had done, so I was able to kind of play on their background, write some creative headlines, call the editors, call the beat reporters. Just having those relationships helps with the publicity, getting this out and letting people realize that their local Farm Credit Services of America field officers were involved, and the youth in the community that were participating. We all know in the sponsorship world that we're constantly looking for that next connection, that next relationship, what fits, what makes sense. So the publicity is for the sponsor, obviously to show their brand alignment with the Exarban Stock Show, but it's also to encourage other sponsors to join on, to be part of us, to look at the creativity that we can do match. I absolutely love getting to work in the sponsorship arena and aligning partners that make sense and getting creative and helping do activation and fulfillment. So the Exarban Pig Challenge presented by Farm Credit Services of America certainly was a win-win. Here's a few of the follow-up things from that. We were able to do some media releases, talking about what was happening. We were also able to really engage on social media. We had one of our mentors go out to the county fair, and they sent back to the communications department at Farm Credit Services of America what their experience was like and took a joint picture. So then what I worked with was not just having us push it out on our social media, but also giving some power to the voice of Farm Credit Services and their reach and having them put it out, and then we shared to our social platforms. I always think it's super helpful and creative when you're not just always pushing information out, but that you can share, or that you can also just be a really good partner in how you're leveraging the sponsorship for each other. Some of the follow-up that continued was we had Channel 1011 from Lincoln come, so it's about an hour away from Grand Island, and they came out and followed some of the participants, and we got some airtime of what was happening during the weekend of Exarban, which is towards the end of September every year. And then one of the really cool things that really shows the value is the fact that Farm Credit Services of America reached out to me and said, we'd like to do swag. So we want to give each of these participants something with our logo and our brand on it so that they can remember their experience, they remember we are involved. And I thought that was great. We happen to be, in a cold climate. So a toque, which would be a stocking hat, seemed like a really valuable thing to be able to send out for those exhibitors. We've definitely got some more visuals to show you here of some of the activation. Of course, there were signs in the arena, and there was the electronic board. There is something called the Purple Ribbon Auction booklet that is handed out at our Purple Ribbon Auction, which is the pinnacle event for the Exarban Stock Show. And they had a half-page ad in that. And it was just really nice to be able to connect all the dots, and I look forward to this programming having lots of years to follow. The second part that I want to share with you, again, thank you so much for the judges for selecting us to be in the Champions Circle and be able to talk about the Exarban sponsorships and some of the innovation, is the partnership that we have with the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. I've had the opportunity to be in this role with Sue Ellen Pegg, who is in the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. So she has always been a great champion in our corner, and it was really fun to look at how can we integrate. So here's a little bit of background. It started off with them being on the stall cards. So for years, UNL was on the stall cards, and that was kind of their logo impression and their give and the activation and brand awareness. And as things continue to evolve, you're always looking at what's that next level. What else can we do for our sponsors? How else can we engage? But really importantly is, what are we giving them back for their return on our investment? What's our ROI? How can they go back and measure these steps with their colleagues and look at us and their department budgets and make that decision of, yes, I want to be involved with the Exarban Stock Show again. So she's in college recruiting. Again, playing back from my background of working in student affairs and at multiple universities in the recruiting department, you need to start young, and you need to start those relationships young. And so while we have exhibitors that are from 9 to 19 that are eligible to come to the Exarban Stock Show, we also know a lot of them are bringing little siblings. So this is the second year in a row that Sue Ellen and I have worked with integrating the College of Natural Resources into our trade show. So we can go with the traditional logos, impressions, for their brand, but how can we really get that interaction? So strategically, we worked to put her in a position in the trade show, and I really kind of took a play from working with Las Vegas events on the Cowboy Fan Fest and took that from my background and said, okay, we need it interactive, we need it really, really pretty, we want to have that boutique shopping experience, but how are people going to stop and stay? Well, they're going to stop and stay when there's an activity of engagement. And so last year, Sue Ellen brought cornhole, and so we noticed that a lot of siblings were kind of stopping or coming back over, and they're playing the cornhole and they're getting their swag pins and t-shirts and anything that was branded back. And then we noticed that there would be a few more siblings that would come, or they'd bring the exhibitors, or mom and dad would be potentially looking for them and where they were. And so we kind of liked being that attraction within the trade show. It was constantly driving traffic for our vendors. It was just a good pattern. Now, what we had to look for with COVID is we had to look at the fact that we needed to be really, really careful of our touch points. And Sue Ellen was really creative. So this year we were not able to use cornhole, but what she did is she brought a whole bunch of hand sanitizers, which were definitely coveted pieces that people wanted. She also brought a spinning wheel and then would wipe it down after every person would spin the wheel for their prizes. And it was nice. She definitely is a wonderful personality. She's just energetic, enthusiastic. She makes kids, whether they're 6 or 7, feel welcome and excited. And she's really building on that mission of getting that brand in front of kids where they're remembering, oh my gosh, I remember going to the Exarban Stock Show. Here's the pencil, or maybe the key ring, or some other piece of swag that I have from that experience. And now I want to look in and understand what degrees are out there. And they've constantly been supporting something that I love and do. And so let me look further into the depth of degrees and what they offer there. Well, there is a variety of ways for sponsorships to be integrated and put into the program. One of the things that we were able to do this year is UNL did a lot of hand sanitizer stations. So we also had great branding that was continually around. It just happened to match with the PPE and the COVID guidelines and parameters that we were working in. Of course, we're always using the digital marketplace, and we happen to have a big jumbotron here at the Fauner Park, which is where the Nebraska State Fair and the Exarban Stock Show is held. So we're able to use those assets. We're able to do some transitions. We can run some 30-second commercials for our different partners. We also have a loft space, which is wonderful. That works really well if we've got some VIPs and we want to give them a bird's eye view. It's a glass area that overlooks both our sheep and our beef arena. One of the things I really like is the fact that we were able to work with Allflex, and we have the new logo of the Exarban Stock Show, which is the red ear tag. So the last few years, I've been able to work with Clayton, and we put together and basically use it as a business card and advertise. And so it's one of those swag pieces that we're giving out. It's always practical. Maybe you've got snowmobile keys or tractor keys or an extra shed key, and you need a big tag so that you're not losing it, and it works really well, and it's a good reminder. It's also fun to hand out as we use them with trade shows or at business development functions. I want to finish up talking about the Purple Ribbon Auction, which I mentioned earlier. It's our pinnacle event. This one I love. It's a gala, it's a party, it's a dress up and have fun and celebrate the success, and it's basically the championships with the auction lots that go in. This year I worked on the cover photo, and we have a nice foyer and a lobby, so if your facility allows for that. I took a play from being in college athletics for so many years and made some big giant posters. So as you look through the Purple Ribbon Auction booklet now, you can see that we're trying to sell our stories. We're also using this as a sales piece because the shelf life doesn't just need to happen for a few hours on Saturday night. I need it to be that coffee table piece that is used in industry, that parents hang on to as a yearbook, a memory book, and that we've got all these logos on the back. I want people to realize who's invested, who's promoting and sponsoring. It's a great advertisement. While we weren't able to have the livestock judging this year, we were able to still highlight American Foods Group and make sure that they got some brand and recognition in this. I just want to thank all of you guys for your time watching this video presentation. I am certainly available, and I want to be a really good colleague and a resource. So if you want to connect by the phone or jump on a Zoom call and talk about your sponsorships and ways to engage and look at new markets, I am happy to do that. My information is up on the screen. Again, I'm Gretchen Kirchmann, and I am delighted and honored to get to share with you today.